heart and soul of this team, and he and Luka Dončić have been an incredible backcourt partnership. But Nikola Jokić, the Joker? If there is even a 1% chance of pairing the two best playmakers on the planet, you do whatever it takes. Here is what actually happened. Hunter Cookston over at Sporting News just released a massive piece highlighting a prediction from Tyler Watts of Lake Show Life. The rumor is that next summer, Nikola Jokić could decline his player option and become an unrestricted free agent. Despite Jokic saying he wants to be a Nugget for life, Denver has only won 2 playoff series in the last 3 years, and frustration is reportedly mounting. On our side, Austin Reaves just inked a huge 4-year, $180 million deal this offseason, which was actually structured to give the front office more financial flexibility. But Watts predicts that Pelinka would dump Reaves' contract in an instant if it meant carving out the cap space to sign the Joker. This is all about matching the timeline of Luka Dončić, who is only 26 and has made it crystal clear to Pelinka and JJ Redick that he has zero interest in a slow, patient approach to building a championship team. Now, let's look at the front office. On one hand, Reaves' extension was an amazing piece of business that preserved our rotation depth. But on the other hand, the front office has to be ruthless. We're in the business of winning championships, not making friends. If you can pair Luka Dončić with a guy who has made $304 million throughout his career and won 3 MVPs, you do it without hesitation. Some might argue that gutting our depth and losing Reaves would destroy our backcourt chemistry, but let's ask ourselves, are we trying to build a nice competitive playoff team, or are we going all in for Banner 18? This is the kind of aggressive asset optimization that turns a franchise into an historic dynasty.
On the court, a Luka Dončić and Nikola Jokić partnership under JJ Redick would be absolutely legendary. Visually, picture 2 of the greatest passing minds in basketball history executing a play where the big man actually handles the ball while our superstar guard sets the screen. Inverted pick and roll. It would confuse every defense in NBA history. Jokic's incredible presence and elite playmaking from the high post would create unmatched space for Luka to get downhill. They would completely control the game, running flawless handoff plays, DHO actions, and spacing the floor with their combined shooting and passing threat. Redick would have an absolute field day drawing up schemes for them. My unfiltered verdict is that if Nikola Jokić actually hits free agency next summer and wants to play with his close friend Luka Dončić, you trade or dump Austin Reaves in a heartbeat. It hurts emotionally because Reaves is our guy, but Jokić is a generational superstar who instantly guarantees a ring. Of course, this is highly speculative right now, but in the NBA, crazy things happen all the time. So I am throwing this open to you, Lakers family. Would you be willing to sacrifice Austin Reaves to bring Nikola Jokić to Los Angeles? Or do you think keeping Reaves and maintaining our depth is the smarter way to build around Luka? Let me know in the comments below.
Okay, let me back up for a second because this next rumor is a wild one. We are talking about swapping our young wing Dalton Knecht for New Orleans Pelicans forward Saddiq Bey. I am not gonna lie, my immediate reaction is a mix of pure excitement and a little bit of hesitation. Knecht was supposed to be our future movement shooter, but things have clearly not gone to plan. On the other hand, Saddiq Bey is a proven bucket getter who can give us a major scoring punch off the bench. It is a tough pill to swallow to give up on a young prospect so early, but this is the NBA, and business is business. Here's what actually happened. Cy Mohan over at Heavy.com just published an intriguing one-on-one trade pitch where the Lakers would acquire Saddiq Bey from the Pelicans in exchange for Dalton Knecht. Salary-wise, it is an almost perfect one-to-one match. We would take on Bey's expiring $6.5 million contract, while New Orleans would take Knecht, who has a $6.4 million team option on his rookie scale contract. This is a very clean way for the front office to adjust the roster without taking on any long-term money, giving Pelinka plenty of flexibility to manage our room under the tax. Bey is coming off a career-best year where he put up 17.7 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 2.5 assists on 45% shooting from the field. More importantly, he hit 2.1 threes per game at a solid 37% clip, proving he is moving past his reputation as just an isolation-heavy scorer. Let's look at how the front office is handling this. Dalton Knecht showed some real flashes in his rookie year, but during his sophomore season, he completely fell out of J.J. Redick's rotation and spent most of his time warming the bench or playing down in the G League. Even though Redick hyped him up publicly on several occasions, the fit just was not there. If a young guy isn't playing, his trade value is only going down, so moving him now is actually smart asset optimization. The Pelicans are desperate for shooting in their second unit, so they're willing to gamble on Knecht, following in the footsteps of movement shooters like Buddy Hield or Luke Kennard. But we have to ask, is Pelinka being too impatient here? Are we actually building toward Banner 18? Or are we just panic swapping our young assets for expiring veterans because we don't have a real player development plan? I lean toward this being a solid, calculated risk, but it definitely highlights how tight our timeline is with Luka.
On the court, how does Bey actually fit into J.J. Redick's system? First, picture him setting solid screens and then flying out to the perimeter for a quick catch-and-shoot opportunity. He is a massive 6'8", 220-pound forward who can put the ball on the floor and finish strong in the paint. While some scouts criticize him for lacking the lateral quickness or defensive IQ to be a true lockdown 3-and-D guy, his size makes him a very useful help defender, especially when we have Kessler protecting the rim. Redick can utilize him in various dribble handoff plays at the top of the key to keep our offense moving and dynamic when Dončić sits. My unfiltered verdict is that this is a trade we absolutely have to do. Knecht is not playing for us anyway, and adding a 17.7 points per game scorer who is only 27 years old on an expiring deal is a massive win for our bench scoring and wing rotation depth. If it works, we can try to re-sign him. If it fails, he walks next summer and we clear his salary off our books completely. It is a low-risk, high-reward move that immediately helps us win now. But I know some of you are going to disagree. Let me know in the comments. Would you rather keep Dalton Knecht and hope he develops his shooting under Redick, or do you trade him right now for an established scorer like Saddiq Bey?
Yo, I am literally staring at this 3-team trade proposal right now, and my jaw is flat on the floor shocked. If you told me yesterday that we could actually land a 2-time league blocks leader to play alongside Walker Kessler, I would have told you to stop playing video games. But here we are, and honestly, I am absolutely hyped. The front court depth has been a massive talking point for us all summer, and even though we've done some solid work already with Walker Kessler and Kevin Looney, this would be an absolute game changer. I am talking about adding serious length, elite paint defense, and a big man who can actually shoot. If this is real, Pelinka is cooking something beautiful. Here is what actually happened. Adil Ahmed over at Heavy.com just broke down a wild 3-team trade framework involving our Lakers, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Detroit Pistons. In this proposed deal, the Lakers would acquire Miles Turner and a 2030 second-round draft pick via Detroit to make the salaries work and keep us from breaching the league's strict spending ceiling, which would trigger a luxury tax hard cap. We would send Jared Vanderbilt and Dalton Knecht over to Milwaukee, while the Pistons would walk away with Jake LaRavia. Financially, Turner is in the middle of a major contract, set to earn a base salary of $26.6 million for the upcoming season, with his deal running through the 2028-29 season. On our side, Vanderbilt is our main trade chip at $12.4 million, which is worth more than Knecht's and LaRavia's deals combined. Shifting these contracts around is how we find enough room under the tax to make this work, while keeping us safely away from the dreaded second-tier luxury tax penalties of the second apron. Now let's talk about the front office, because we have to stay honest here. Rob Pelinka deserves credit for trying to find a solution to our front court situation, especially after James left. We did some great business trading for Walker Kessler, even if it cost us unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, and bringing in Kevin Looney on a 1-year, $3.9 million vet minimum deal. But let's be real, relying on Looney as our primary backup center is a massive gamble, because he was basically a replacement-level player last season at Golden State. If Kessler gets hurt, our defense at the 5 is completely cooked. This is why trading Vanderbilt and Knecht for Turner represents perfect asset optimization. Are we actually building toward banner 18 with this, or are we just running it back with a slightly different rotation? I think this is a real championship-level move that solves our backup center crisis instantly.
How does this look on the court under head coach J.J. Redick? Visually, picture Miles Turner pulling opposing centers completely out of the paint, creating massive driving lanes because of his incredible three-point shooting threat. Turner has shot a clean 36.5% from behind the arc throughout his career, meaning defenders cannot just sag off him. Imagine Luka Dončić getting downhill into the paint with that kind of space. It is literally a cheat code. On the other end, Turner gives us elite